This is a video from Lost Relic Games, and it's a game developer. He says, Adobe is trying to kill my indie game.
Isn't it always the way that when things are going smoothly, things are tracking well, you have a lot of momentum on a project, boom, that's when you get blindsided and things go sideways. Well, this morning, thousands of creatives, including myself, woke up to an insidious announcement from Adobe. Yes, the same Adobe that was recently investigated for anti-consumer behavior. Well, that Adobe, in all their hollow corporate wisdom, have decided to eradicate the popular and widely used animation tool Adobe Animate, and in so doing, decimate a large section of the creative industry, including threatening the future of my indie game, Blood and Mead. Now, I used the word eradicate because they're not just trying to end the software and, no longer support it. No. You see, that would be fine. You see, what they're doing is much more sinister. You see, they want to lock us out of our own animation files, stop us accessing the art files inside the software. I mean, there's absolutely no reason for them to do this. It's absolutely crazy. And people are understandably freaking the hell out. Truly vile that Adobe are opting to kill Animate Flash with no contingencies in place for the thousands of animators, including every single one I work with, who are going to lose access to the program they've been mastering for up to 3 decades. This is an industry-killing move. And here's Chicken Nugget, a massive independent cartoon show on YouTube with millions of subscribers.
And this is actually the tweet where I first saw it and started researching the situation, because this tweet went hyper viral. Now, before we keep watching the video, just to give people a quick update on this, because the blowback from this video and this tweet in particular got so hot that Adobe had to roll back their attempts to wreck people's lives. This is Ars Technica says, user blowback convinces Adobe to keep supporting 30-year-old 2D animation app. On Monday, Adobe announced that it would stop allowing people to sell subscriptions to Animate on March 1st, saying that the software had served its purpose. People who already had a software license would be able to keep using Animate with technical support until March 1st, 2027. Businesses had until March 1st, 2029. Per an email sent to customers, Adobe also said users would lose access to Animate files and project data on March 1st, 2027. Animate costs $23 per month. This is the post that they put out there, and said the software would be available for individuals and businesses and will still receive technical support and security and bug fixes, but not new features. Company said its Monday announcement did not meet our standards and caused a lot of confusion and angst. We are committed to ensuring Animate users have access to their content, regardless if the state of development changes. So I just want to bear that in mind while we're listening to this, because the voices were heard and Adobe rolled it back. But my goodness, what a complete shit show they caused with scaring the bejesus. Imagine your entire business being based on this program that was working fine every day, and you have all your files in it and everything. And then one day you just get a message saying, yeah, we're discontinuing that. Fuck you.
Adobe Animate is the program we use to make the show. This decision will not only harm countless jobs in industry, but render so much past creations as lost media. I'm hoping they reverse this decision for the sake of animators everywhere. Why on earth are you discontinuing Animate, one of your most popular apps? Why do you guys keep doing this? Not working on it anymore is one thing, but why strip away access too?
I think we all know the reason, because they would try to be greedy with it and trying to lure people into other programs that they could make more money off of. At the end of the day, it always comes down to that. It's not about, it's the functionality is not as good as the next thing. It's like, no, we can make more money if we put a new thing out.
I mean, what the actual fuck? So I just want to say, Adobe, I hope you lose your entire user base, because that's exactly what you deserve at this point. And I say this as someone who has been for a long time a fan and supporter of your software. I used to go to all the road shows in my city. Back then, I was such a supporter that I was even invited to a private dinner with the Australian CEO of Adobe. And
wow. Wow. So this guy's not just some random nobody. He's actually like legit in the industry, hanging with the corpos at Adobe, and he's still getting fucked over.
Senior management team, back when you guys still had some shred of decency and integrity. So this was a message that was sent to everyone. We're contacting you to let you know that Adobe will be discontinuing Adobe Animate on March 2026. As an existing Animate user, you may continue to use Animate, but please note that technical support will no longer be available after March 1st, 2027. And here comes the big one. Please note that access to your Animate files and project data will end on March the 1st, 2027.
That is insane. This is like along the same lines as Stop Killing Games, except it's worse because the games that are being killed are the ones you're making with the files, and they're proactively were attempting to kill it. Like, so you have to have your game out ready and completed with no updates needed by that point in time, or else it's all for naught and wasted. What?
Ensure a smooth transition, we encourage you to export your Animate, FLA, and XFL files to other formats such as SWIFT, SVG, MP4 before this date. Now, this suggestion at the end is completely laughable. You see, Animate uses an FLA file format. In that FLA, you have a timeline with art and animation that's created and embedded in that timeline. You can't just export it out to a compressed MP4 format. It lives in that timeline. The FLA is the file. You can't separate the two without destroying the work. It's
so the person that wrote that message was just like, fuck you, I don't care. And real quick too, a quick interlude for this video. Just the situation with Adobe, I don't think people realize just how dire it is behind the scenes for them right now, because they see Gemini, they see AI taking over, and it will, without question, render Adobe useless in the future. It's going to be the same thing of what digital cameras did to Kodak. AI is going to destroy Adobe. In fact, I'm kind of surprised that it hasn't already, but it is on a collision course for that to happen. And the investors see that. The stock is down over 36% in the past year alone. That's terrible. So they're starting to get desperate with the stuff that they're doing right now. And you can tell, like, this is one of those messages that you only write if your back's against the wall trying to scare people into other projects and make more money, because right now they're boned.
It's absolutely ludicrous. It'll be like making a suggestion to patch a flat car tire with a chicken sandwich. Like, it's completely illogical. And it just shows how ignorant they are to their own tooling and what it actually means to the community. Here's one from Kenny as he quotes their idiocracy, to which he replies, "They literally have no idea what their own software does or how it works." And that announcement, the wording, is so nonchalant, like they're sunsetting some technology that nobody is using. But that could not be further from the truth. This decision by Adobe will impact so many people's livelihoods and careers. It's still very widely used by cartoonists, animators from every spectrum of the industry, all the way from students to hobbyists to professionals. You know, my day job still uses it extensively in our pipeline. And of course, I'm still using it in my game Blood and Mead. And again, if this was simply a case of them wanting to retire the tool, that's one thing. But they want to lock us out of our files.
And nullify how they work.
If a game like Castle Crashers wants to do an update or roll out some kind of an expansion, they won't be able to access their files under this new system. Here's a nice showcase of some popular content made with Animate, all made at least partially with Adobe Animate, the program that Adobe doesn't think deserves to exist anymore.
That's crazy.
And here Adobe, just a few days ago, wrote on their social, "We're committed to helping filmmakers and creators bring their visions to life." And Rubber Ross writes back, "That's weird because I read you're killing Adobe Animate. You know, the program that a ton of independent animators use. And here we have Ed McMillan chiming in to say, you know, hey, Binding of Isaac is made with Animate.
That's crazy, actually. This situation opening my eyes to how many people were using Adobe Animate in professional indie gaming, like massive games that most people have played a lot of these.
You know, if if Ed wanted to access any of his art files in Animate, it's going to be locked out.
Yeah.
Fucking wild. Oh, and here's me chiming in because I also happen to use Animate for pretty much all my animation and artwork. Over 1,000 hours of animation work.
Wow.
That I'm being now told I will not be able to access. I don't exactly know.
This is, again, he filmed this before Adobe came out with the update saying, whoopsies. I guess we pissed off a lot of people. Sorry, we're going to backtrack on that. I am impressed with the level of professionalism that this guy is handling this video with, because after 1,000 hours of animating in a program, finding this out, I would be like punching a wall. I'd be pissed.
At this point, what I'm going to do to deal with this. The whole idea of exporting to another format or whatever, it's not possible. It doesn't work like that. And Adobe knows it. They're just writing some PR fluff to try to cover their ass somehow, but it's not going to work. This is not a viable solution that they're offering. You know, there's all manner of secret links and websites that you can visit to get your hands on some Adobe products, but it's not really viable to scale a career and a business around these kind of approaches. It can be a good Band-Aid solution, but you know, with this announcement from Adobe, man, I'll tell you, they're asking for it. And the ridiculous thing is, Adobe at this moment still has an active lawsuit against them from the Department of Justice and FTC for violating consumer rights. They haven't even settled this lawsuit. And
again, it goes back to their backs are against the wall. And they don't care about the lawsuits. They need to make more money, and they will fuck more people over if they have to.
They're already asking for a new one. I mean, who is running this place? You know what? Let's have a look. So the FTC investigation is against these two Adobe executives, Maninder Sawani and this dude here, David Wandani. I mean, look at this guy. Wasn't me. Absolute bozo. These people are not to be trusted, man. Creative Cloud. The first time I heard this phrase, I knew this is going to be a problem. You see, that's where these subscription models continually lead, okay? There was a time where you could just buy Adobe Animate or Flash
and just
on a disk or just have a direct download to your hard drive. It's yours forever.
Forever, yep.
That's how it should be. But now with these subscription models, you don't own shit. Okay?
Everything's turned into software as a service, because these companies have realized that if they sell you a product one time, that you'll have your needs suffice and you'll never need to buy anything from them again, and they will not make infinite money. So it's almost like the pharmaceutical industry, where they're like, they don't want to cure the disease, they just want to heal you enough to make sure you don't die, but they want to keep you on the medication.
They can turn it off at any time and lock you out of your files, apparently. This is what you do now. This is kind of where we're at, you know? You know, it feels criminal, and that's probably because it is criminal. And keep in mind, Animate/Flash was never Adobe's product. They simply bought it from Macromedia once it had already become popular. That's why they could not give a shit about this software. They have no connection to it. And, you know, between this, which is not so dissimilar to the bullshit Unity was trying to pull a couple of years back.
I remember that.
You know, and then you have this Windows 11 stuff going on. You know, between all of it, I'm just getting really tired, man, of this, all this enshittification, as it's been called. You know, it's really, it's become very apparent as to where this is all leading. So I'm glad so many people are pushing back. And that's why I'm making this video, as a form of protest, and also to have a bit of a rant. So anyways, I'm going to wrap up by saying, Adobe, from my gut, from my heart, from my soul, screw you. I hope your stock price flatlines. I curse you. I hope you become nothing more then a memory, and a case study of how not to scale a company. Yep, that'll do.
I do wonder, honestly, at the end of the day, I do wonder where this all leads. It's really sad. We had it so good like 15 years ago, 20 years ago, when all this stuff was new. I don't know if it has to do with the macroeconomic situation of outside world costing too much money to live and everyone's trying to make more money. I don't know what it is, but these companies are getting way too greedy. Way too greedy. And thankfully, Adobe stepped back and was like, okay, we're not going to do that right now. But just the fact that they tried makes you wonder, when are they going to actually do it? Because if they can just come out and say it, then they can just do it next year or the year after that with a different person in charge. There's no protection. There's no laws to stop it. It's very concerning. But at least for now, it's saved. I don't know what happens when Adobe goes out of business and AI takes over, but I guess we'll worry about that when that happens. But I'll leave that there.